All right, so welcome back to the House of Dula, guys. I'm glad to have you. If this is the first time you are joining me, welcome to my garage. This is a channel dedicated to everything we are doing back here on my 86 little turbo Fox body Mustang back here. And before we get started on today's little project, I do want to say I miss you guys. It's been a really long time since I posted, and I apologize for that. Life has gotten in the way, and to be quite frank, I just haven't had a lot of things to do to the car. It's been really hot outside, and I've just put family and work first. Work's been really busy, and not to mention I just haven't had really the fun. It's not a good time to be spending money right now anyways, so I do apologize for that, but we do have a lot of things coming. So before we get into why we're here and fixing my hopefully fixing the overheating issue we've got in the car back here, one big word I got to tell you guys here. It's FoxFest. FoxFest. FoxFest is hosted by the North Texas Fox Body Club, and House of Dula is one of the sponsors for it. So guys, FoxFest this is the second event we've done, the second annual FoxFest. It's at Ennis, Texas, September 26th. Mark in your calendars. If you're in the Texas vicinity, you can come to it. Last year it was only for members of the North Texas Fox Body Club. This year you can come as long as you have a Fox body Mustang, and it is going to be a nothing but Fox bodies, and it's going to be Ennis, Texas. So it's obviously going to be drag racing. It's a quarter mile. So we got to get the car ready. So this is what I'm talking about. I got 2 weeks to get the car somewhat prepared. We got a little bit of issues we want to take care of. One is the overheating issue. Now it's not overheating, it is the getting hot issue. Now I want to fix that, and wait till you see this radiator behind you. Oh my gosh. So hopefully this is going to allow us to run our AC and just beat the snot out of the turbo and not have to ever worry about it getting warm again when we get this on. So we got to take care of that, number one. Number two, I got to get stickier tires, guys. You see me drive this car. It's kind of slippery all over the place. I've got Nittos on it now. What are they? The NT 555s? G2s? Yeah, they got NT 555 G2s on front and back. So they're just not gripping enough. So I need to get some drag radials put on it before. Let's see here. I gotta go get a drive shaft safety loop. You gotta run that if you run a certain amount of times. Not planning on running that fast, but it's probably a good idea to get one anyways. It's a safety thing. I got a buddy who's gonna let me have one, so we're gonna go pick that up, stick it on the car, and I got a header leak we gotta get rid of. So I got another on 3 header here. We're gonna put on probably temporarily. I got a header leak, so I got to get rid of that before we head to the track. So guys, yeah, I'm here. I'm good. I hope all you guys are good. We've been fine. My family's been healthy. Thank goodness. Everything's been great. So we got lots of work to do on the Fox, and I'm just so excited to get my hands dirty again on this car. I hope you guys are excited too, because we're about to go drag race again. If you remember last year, whenever I went drag racing, this is the first annual Fox Fest. We just got the turbo on, just got the tune in, and I just was not able to run a good time because my intake tube was collapsing. There's a video on that. You definitely go back and watch that event and kind of see what times I ran, and some of the issues have been weeded out since then. So I'm really anxious to see what the car is going to run in the quarter mile. We're going to find out here in 2 weeks, but in the meantime, let's get straight to why you're here, and let's see if we can't put to bed the overheating issues. Not overheating, the getting hot issues where the AC is on, and you know, you're in Texas heat, 110 degrees outside. So that's key. Let me just explain real quick that the car is never overheated. It's never gotten above really 210, 11, 12, maybe at the hottest. That to me is too hot. I don't ever want to see anything in the 210s on this car. 201, whatever. 205, maybe. Ideally, this car stays at 180 degrees all the time, non-stop, as long as the AC is not on. Even if I'm in traffic and I'm chilling, it may crawl up to a little A185, but goes back to 180 once you're cruising. It's fine. It's normal. It's exactly what you expect to do. However, as soon as I click the AC on, and guys, I want this to be a street car, okay? I will go through links, ends. I know what you're thinking. Just take the AC off, Mike. No, it's hot here. and my family and I are driving this thing, and it's freaking hot in the summertime, and I want to be able to drive a turbo Mustang with AC, okay? So when the AC's on though, I think it is absolutely just heat soaking the radiator. The radiator is just not able to shed enough heat off of the radiator to make up for it. So as you know, your AC condenser is right up here on the front, and of course as soon as you turn the AC on, that gets hot. It's adding heat into the radiator. The radiator can't cool off fast enough. Water temps are slowly circulating through the engine. Next thing you know, your engine's temps are slowly climbing. And then anyway, so it gets about 210. It doesn't really get over that. It's just not fun. All right, man, so feast your eyes on this. This is a DeWitts 2-core, super thick horsepower series. So this is their top of the line. This is their their high horsepower series. They call it the HP series. DeWitts aluminum radiator, direct fit. It's made to fit for a Fox body Mustang. Comes with a fan. Comes with the fan controller. This is the thermostat for the fan built into the radiator. And guys, look at the craftsmanship on this thing. This quality on this is like none I've ever seen. I mean, the aluminum welding is just superb on this. And these are made to order. When you order these on their website, they'll order it, and then you put the order in, and then these are actually handmade, and they're made 100% here in the USA. So these are 100% American-made radiators, and I believe they even come with a lifetime warranty. So these are awesome. Now, before I get into the details and show you guys everything on this guy here, I do want to talk to you real quick about why I'm downsizing from a 3-core SVE radiator that I got from LMR to this 2-core. Now, you're asking probably, or you're wondering, if it's 2-core, why is it so thick? Well, guys, it's not the core that matters. It's not the number of cores that matters. It's the size of the tube that the cores are made out of. Okay? Let me explain. All right. So I am by all means not a radiator engineer by any means, but I have read a little bit on it, and I've learned a little bit of something that I didn't really want to know. I kind of wanted to share with you guys. So just take it as it is, but I think it's some pretty good information you may be interested in hearing. So as you know, and I know most of you guys already probably know this, so here is your radiator looking at it from the front, okay? And you've got your tube for the engine coolant going into it, hot coolant, and you have a tube on the bottom where you've got cool fluid or cooled off fluid going back into the engine. Okay, so these tanks are filled with fluid and pressurized. Okay, now you've got these tubes going through each side connecting the tank. Okay, and we just go all the way through here. Okay, now these are the tubes that I'm talking about. And in between the tubes, you've got your coils. Okay. This is what air flows through and helps dissipate the heat. So air flows through the coils, it takes heat away from the tubes and cools the fluid off. So as air flows, through your radiator, it cools it off and it recirculates back into your engine as cool air. Now fluid comes in this way and it goes across these tubes this way. Okay, and this is what they refer to as a cross-flow radiator. Back in the old days, they would have a downflow, and it would be basically like this on your engine, and your tank would be on top, fluid would flow to the bottom, going out the bottom this way, okay? So here's your crossflow. Now, what you need to pay attention to whenever you order and look for radiators is not exactly just the size or the rows, but what you need to ask and look for is the tube size, okay? So let's get a different perspective here. So let's say now we're looking down the radiator. We're looking to the side of it, okay? You turn it on its side and you look down, and this is the tank, okay? This is the tank on one side, and let's say you've got your inlet tube here, okay? Now, your tubes will be laid across like this, okay? And then they'll go down like this. Now, this is what they refer to as rows. So when you buy a 2-row radiator, you get 2 rows of tubes going from top to bottom. When you buy a 3-row, you get 3 rows of tubes like I'm showing here. So this would be 1 row, 2, and 3 row. Now, the number of tubes, of course, you can increase is going to increase fluid capacity. As you increase fluid capacity, you're also increasing the section between your fins here or your coils, which increases the surface area. As you increase surface area, it allows for more air to pass through it, therefore cooling it off. So cool air comes in here, hot air comes out here, out behind the radiator, and therefore it's dissipating the heat, exchanging it through the air, cooling the fluid down, and then releasing it out into the motor as cooler water. Now, what you're thinking is, okay, we'll just add more cores. Yeah, you know it, you can. you can buy a 4-core radiator or 4-row. In fact, you could probably get 5 or 6. Now there is a point of diminishing return here. As you add rows, you're also adding overall thickness of the radiator. So this would be obviously problematic for 2 reasons. One, because of sheer size, you're going to have a hard time fitting this under the hood of a lot of cars. And 2, also just because as you increase the quart index, you're also increasing basically how hard it is for the air to be sucked through it. So you're going to increase surface area, and you're also going to increase coolant capacity, but you're also sacrificing the ability for air to be able to flow through it. So this same is true as you add intercoolers to the front of it, or in our case, intercooler and a evaporator. So as you put things in front of the radiator, you've got to move air all the way through, okay? So core thickness is important. You don't want too thick of a core, you don't want too many rows. But really, guys, to boil it all down and just to simplify it, it really does come with just the math. If you just take a second before you buy your radiator to go to the website, the manufacturer's website, and look for the tube size. Now you'll see some of the cheaper aftermarket ones like the SVE does not include that on the website. In fact, I called LMR, and LMR did not have an answer for the SVE2 size, okay? So we don't know. We're going to assume that it's something in maybe the, shoot, I don't know, 5, it's probably a 5.8 if I had to guess, okay? So what I'm talking about here is mass. So let's say you buy 3-core 5.8 like the SVE here, okay? Each one of these tubes is going to come out to, let's see, 0.625 inches. Okay, so 625 inches. All right, so 0.625 and times 3 is going to get you a total core size of 1.875. And you'll realize that the core thickness often relates directly to this number. So your tube size, your coolant size is 1.875 inches. That's how much coolant can flow through the tubes per row, okay? So what gets interesting, you'll start seeing the higher end radiators, you'll start seeing larger tubes. So good radiator companies like Griffin, Fluidyne, in this case, you know, the DeWitts, of course, and companies like, you know, AFCO are going to do, they're going to publish their high-end radiators tube size. So what you'll get is radiators cores, you know, all the way up to maybe an inch. So let's say this is now a 1-inch tube. Okay, well that's really easy. Now you have a 2-inch core size. Okay, so you've increased your fluid capacity. Not only have you increased your fluid capacity because the tube size is larger, but you're also giving it more surface area and the more ease ability for it to flow through the tubes. You're going to flow more fluid through 2 larger tubes than you are through 3 smaller tubes. Okay, so put this in perspective, guys. Summit has a 2-row for sale, and these are 3/4 inch tubes. They publish it. That's a pretty good size tube. Okay, that equals out to 1.5 inch core size. Okay, that's more economical. Now Summit also makes a 4-core or 4-row tube at 5/8. Okay, now that is a lot of cores, and it actually is a pretty thick radiator, so you got to be careful. It may not fit in a lot of applications, but that equals out to a whopping 2.5 inches on a 2.75 total inch core width here. So 2.5 inches of flow. Okay, Griffin, the higher end Griffin radiator has a 2-core at 1.25 inches, also equaling 2.5 inches of core size. So you see what I'm getting at here? It's not hard. Fluidyne makes one even, I think that's a 3/5/8. So anyways, just pay attention to the core size. Now the DeWitts here, after I talked to them, they hooked me up with a 2-row 1.25 inch. Now this to me was, in my opinion, the best. And this also matches the Griffin. The Griffin is also a 2-row at 1.25 inches each. So this is a massive tube size with only 2 rows, but equaling out to almost a 3-inch core. The total core size on mine, I think, is exactly like 2.5 inches on the core itself. So guys, pay attention. Not hard. Pay attention to the tube size. You'll notice that your higher end radiators are going to be more expensive because they spend a time on the tube size and not necessarily how many tubes, or in this case, how many rows. So rows aren't always everything. Don't pay attention to just row size, but also take a look at the size of the tubes in the row. So based on that knowledge alone, I went out searching specifically for a radiator for my car that had at least a 1-inch tube, which is pretty significantly bigger than what's in it now. And I came across this company called DeWitts. And I called them up and I started talking to them about my combination, about wanting to run AC and everything I had. And we started started talking. He told me they actually have a Pro Series radiator, a direct fit drop-in radiator for our Mustangs. And guys, they make radiators for lots of Chevrolet stuff. So Camaros, Chevelles and Corvettes. And they also have all Mustang radiators from your classics, to our Foxes all the way up to more late model Mustangs. But he led me on to their HP series here, and this is when I found out that their HP series actually has a 1.25 inch radiator tube. So guys, that is huge. That is why this radiator is so thick as it is, because the tube size is 1.25 inches and it's 2 rows of it. So I decided to go ahead and get this one with the fan and kit, and everything on it. Now, again, I'm not a rocket scientist. This is definitely a well-made product, but if you've got cooling other problems, this isn't going to fix everything, right? So I may have other issues that is causing my car to get hot, but I do honestly think that the radiator is getting heat soaked, and I just need a bigger, badder radiator. I don't want to ever worry about cooling in this car, no matter what, and no matter how much horsepower I throw at it. And I think this is going to do the job. So, yeah. So DeWitts was awesome. The guy I talked to on the phone actually has a Fox himself, and he races them. And he either of course he recommends their product, right? But looking at it, I definitely see why. He said just cruising the highway, the fans will probably won't even kick on ever. All right, man. So just looking this thing over. It comes with SPAL fans. I've never heard of them, but apparently they are a industrial style, or I guess a higher quality automotive style fan. So it comes with 2 SPAL fans. It came with the SPAL relay and harnesses, which is actually really good. We'll get into this later, but it has a nice simple relay style hookup. Has a built-in thermostat that I think is preset to 180 degrees, and whenever this hits, the fans will start coming on. And yeah, just look at the quality of this thing. It is a nice looking radiator, not gonna lie. It looks really good. The weld quality looks exceptional on it. And I'll tell you what, this radiator with these fans on it, you would think it'd be pretty light. It's got a pretty hefty size to it. It's a good size radiator. Of course, it's got the drain valve down here as well. Also opted to get one here with the automatic trans cooler lines here built into it. And even though we have a manual, I use these for my power steering. I think it's a good spot to put it. Gets it away from the front. It gives more room for my intercooler. So anyways, there you have it. Let's look at the thickness differences. All right, guys, SVE radiator with contour fans, an extremely common setup. This is ordered from LMR. Contour fans are from eBay. The really common setup. This measures in at a 2-inch thick core. And we go over here and measure the DeWitts radiator. This is a, let's see here, 2.8 inch on the core size. And if we look at the tank here, tank thickness is 3 inches on the DeWitts radiator, and over here on our little Chinese guy, it is 2.4 inches. So I've had no issues with this radiator. It's actually been okay. I just honestly think it can't keep up with the cooling capacity that we got. So, okay, so right off the bat, you can see here, and it's going to be very clear that we're going to have some possible fitment issues now. I do know, I've measured it, that it is going to be awfully close. We're going to take up pretty much every bit of space we can here and have to move in the radiator as much as we can to the front core. But just by measuring, the overall thickness of the fans and the core, this thing comes in at quite a bit, quite a bit thicker. So I think if I measured correctly, this was like 4.7 inches from the back of the core to the front surface, the front, I guess, area of the motor here. And the DeWitts from the radiator all the way to the end of the motor here was more like 7 inches. So You're talking about 3 more inches total from the motor to the back mount of this radiator right here. So it's going to be quite a bit thicker, but I think we can make it work. We may have to do some fab work to move the core support over a little bit. Now, of course, as you know, if any of you guys are running an on 3 turbo kit with the AC, you can see obviously the biggest dilemma is your evaporator or your condenser coils, and this is the biggest problem I had whenever I was putting in my intercooler, was just keeping everything as close as I can, especially on the nose of these bumpers, without having to cut into it so much so that it would look, looked ridiculous. So the only thing I had to notch to get all this to fit really was the tubes here, and of course get rid of the fog lights. But you can see the intercooler is smacked right up against the bottom lip of the bumper, so there's nowhere that the intercooler can move forward anymore. If you look right behind the intercooler, you can see the condenser. I can't even put my finger between. It's just a little gap right there. Let's see if I get a light here for you. You get a little gap right there between the condenser and the intercooler. And same with here. Now I've got a little bit of space here, and we're going to have to use all of it up. So we're going to end up moving this back as much as I can. But you can see there's just nowhere else for everything forward to go. So we're going to have to get pretty creative if this doesn't fit. Now, DeWitts did say that their radiators are a direct fit. If you go to their websites, they claim that that is their term, that they are direct fit radiators. Now, that is for their normal series and up to the Pro series. Once you get into the HP series like this with a 1.25 inch core, you're really kind of dabbling a little bit more into the custom realm. So just because of the sheer size of it. So I opted to go for the biggest radiator I could possibly get for this car, and just because of that, it's not going to be a direct drop-in without any kind of fabrication. So guys, be aware, if you do that, just make sure you call DeWitts or call AFCO Racing or whoever you decide to go with, and talk to them about the radiators and if they are a drop-in fit or not. You can see this one does not have the raised-in tubes or the bumps that you would have here, and this is normally for your straps to hold on to the top of the radiator. So this is really common for all direct fit radiators to have this section here to wrap around and hold it up. And it has the same thing on the bottom too that holds in the cradle. So this cradle is on the top and bottom of the radiator that holds it in place. Now you can see it doesn't have that. So just right off the bat, we're going to have to get a little bit creative just on the way that this thing is going to mount and sit in the car. So we don't know anything until I get this one pulled out and get that one to sit in. So that's it. That is a DeWitts radiator and a spall or spal. I hope I'm not butchering these guys' names. Fans that comes on it. So this is a kit. You can buy the whole thing just as is. And I can't wait to drop this thing in. So it's already getting late and I'm talking your ear off. So guys, this is just part 1 of it. Stay tuned because tomorrow I'm going to come out here and we're going to be draining the coolant and go ahead and get everything off this. Move my power steering cooler off of it just to get it out. And first thing we want to do is drop this thing in to see if it fits. If it doesn't, we'll take it from there. We'll take it a step at a time. But one thing is for sure, you're going to be here to watch with me the whole time. So you guys are riding along with me, man. We're going to get this radiator fixed. We're going to put the drag slicks on, drag radials on, and we're going to put the drive shaft safety loop on, and we're going to fix my header leak hopefully over here. And we've got 2 weeks to do all this stuff and make sure everything works. Oh, and we have to wire the fans in. So yeah, we got to do all this wiring. So not a huge deal, but we got to pull out the Raleigh controller and pre-wire all this stuff in. So nonetheless, we got some work cut out for us. So guys, it's awesome. Can't wait to go drag racing. Can't wait to see what time this thing runs. I can't wait for FoxFest. So House of Dealer will be there. We will be sponsoring it. I'm even going to be on a t-shirt. Pretty rad. T-shirts there are going to be awesome. So grab them while you can. They're going to go out. They're going to sell really quick. But the House of Dealer logo is on the back of one of the shirts. So I'm so happy to be a part of this event. I can't wait to get back out in the world and just mingle with other Mustang buddies. This COVID thing just kept me cooped up too long, and I know it has you too. So maybe if you can't get out of your house, at least you can watch with me and go on a little ride, go on a journey that I go on with these cars. So that's gonna wrap it up. Hey, stay tuned. Part 2 is coming real soon for this install. We're gonna get this radiator installed. and we're gonna see if this fixes my cooling problems. So we're gonna rag the crap out of the car with the AC on and see if we can't make it overheat. We'll do our best and see how much better they claim that these radiators really are. So I think we're gonna be pretty good. But guys, thank you. We'll see you next time. Stay tuned. House Doula. I'm Mike. Subscribe, follow me on Instagram, and we'll see you guys later.